Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I am one of your hosts, sitting virtually next to my co-host, Joshua Crouch. And we have the world famous Tall Paul Redmond on the show today. And I'm excited to have you on the show. We've known each other for years now. Man, back from Linux days, and you made a transition over to the is it SaaS? Would it be considered SaaS? Because it's not.
It is SaaS. Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
SaaS. So transition over into SaaS, and it's been cool to watch that journey and follow you along. And for those who don't know who you are, would you mind giving a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah. Gosh, where do I start? Man, I wish that preamble conversation we were having about tracking our health metrics was recorded, because it says a lot about our personalities. But so I'm Paul, currently the president of Contractor Commerce. You may have heard of us before, but we started the industry's first e-commerce platform for the trades, which when we started it was a wild kind of fringe idea that's become much more mainstream. And now, thanks to AI and search and all those, and just the clock that we're all on with consumer behavior, is much more normal. But I've been in the home services space really my whole career. Tersh mentioned I worked for a manufacturer for about 10 years. I spent about 3 or 4 years at a marketing agency. So the kind of story behind that story was, the story behind that story was, I only knew one path or one idea. I'm a first generation college student, and my family or whatever, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And turns out when you get out of college, like, people aren't just handing you a job. So I had a really difficult time finding a job, but I knew, for whatever reason, this still seems to be true. I knew that if I could make it, and if I could just get my foot in the door in corporate America, I'd be fine. What's up, Travis? We're just talking about you. I knew if I got into corporate America, I'd be fine. So the first company that ever gave me a shot was Lennox, the air conditioning manufacturer. So, grew up in Michigan, Ohio, moved to Colorado and started in HVAC. Moved all over the country, landed in, did all sorts of different things, corporate projects, leadership development, sales management, et cetera. And landed in Charlotte, North Carolina about 10 years ago. And once we landed here, it was like, okay, at every stop we had a kid. Like, we're not moving again. And I had always just had
Is that because you didn't want any more kids?
Right.
Or you found Charlotte to be your home, is like, we really enjoy it here, or both?
The latter. Yeah. Well, it's starting over with a family. You guys, you may have, you've experienced this, Josh. Like, when you go to a new town and you get a new house, you buy your house and you realize, like, no one knows you, and you can't see it at the time, but you start to build really good memories and have a lot of shared experience. But it's a really, really hard process. So I've always wanted to have really, really deep roots where I am. So, like, I'm in a small town right now, Davidson, North Carolina. This is Davidson College. My kids go to school right over there. And so I was trying to merge, like, my entrepreneurial, like, tech startup interests with, like, really just living in a place that I could call home. So anyways, that's part of the story. But yeah, left and in 2021, joined with Will Hausch, who had become a really good friend of mine through the industry, similar to how I knew you guys, like, just bump into you, get to know you, and become friends. And at about that time, it had become abundantly clear that, like, consumers shop online for just about everything. So we launched Contractor Commerce and been off to the races ever since.
How nerve-wracking was that? Because whenever you first launched it, it was a pretty taboo topic. I loved it. I loved talking about it, but it was very much like,
I love the comments when you would ask if you should put pricing online. I vividly remember, I don't even know how long ago it was now, but maybe 3 years ago, I just just personal profile and say, hey, should we do this or should we not? Or, like, what's your opinion? And it was like, you could have thought they were voting for their president or something. It was 50-50.
Crazy.
And the
Bad Bunny Kid Rock is what it was.
Yes.
Like 100%.
That's what it felt like. And I'm like, man, this is really interesting. And I think there's still a lot of hesitation around some of that. And maybe you can speak to some of that, because you guys obviously have those conversations and you hear those fears more so than anyone else does. And then how we, like, maybe some, how have things transitioned over the last couple of years? Because I think that would be interesting for people, because 3 years ago, ish. ChatGPT and conversational AI it was there, but nobody really, we didn't know half of what we know now. I mean, now we can, you have an idea, you can spin up an app in like an hour.
Well, Josh, you mentioned conversational search and stuff like that. I'm saying way back. I want to say 2018, maybe 2019. I mean, well, pre-Chat GPT. I remember Gary V said this, and it stuck with me. It might have been earlier than that. It might have been 2016. He said that your blog posts need to be conversational. And that's why I think it was probably before you came on the podcast, Josh, I started doing the transcription of every episode in the read more section.
I remember. And we'd hide it, but it would be there.
Yeah, it was in you have to click the read more, but it would be down at the bottom of the screen because Gary V was like, it's conversational search is the future. And a lot of people were like, you're crazy. But then he mentioned, and it made sense to me. This is the only reason why I did it, because it wasn't just because Gary Vee said it. It actually made sense. Because whenever people say, like, hey, Alexa, do this, or where's the best such and such, where's the best HVAC company, or who's the best HVAC company? And I was like, okay, I can see the dots connecting now. And then, Amazon, there was a time there, talk about online pricing. There was a time there where Amazon was going to do HVAC and everybody was freaking out because all the contractors were going to go away and it was just going to be, you're only going to do labor.
You just, hey, I have a 2-ton system, find me a local contractor.
Yeah.
And it was going to be like $1,000 to install it stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's what everybody was afraid of. And I feel like that's probably something that y'all had to battle as well. But now it's not really the Alexa stuff. It's more so the Chat GPT and the Perplexity and all of that, and the Gemini that's doing the search. How does that are those types of, and I'm transitioning straight into another question here for you.
We'll come back to the original one at some point.
We'll go back to that one in a minute. But how does that affect, are they able to crawl the sections on the website for the pricing?
Yeah, so I thought we would end up in this area. I'm glad we're starting here. I get to decide when we announce things at the company. So this whole marketing and commercialization plan of our newest product is going to start right now, because now that we're live, I'm going to bring it up.
All right.
On March 31st, you're going to see, if not before then, the next iteration of e-commerce for contractors through Contractor Commerce, which is conversational AI. So when you think back to, or conversational commerce as we're, calling it kind of behind the scenes, when you think back to the first version of Contractor Commerce, like we built the online store capability to sell a physical product. So like Tersh, you could sell air filters, and really the part of the market that served was the contractor who already had an air filter or a subscription business that was built into the walls of their business. The core of the market would come to us and say, like, we're never really going to prioritize that, but we want to sell memberships. We want to sell memberships, and we want to let someone buy a system, right? And we were like, well, consumers not just going to check out for a system. This is back in 2018, 2019. Yeah. So we built a capability to do what you guys are probably familiar with, and there's others, buying journeys is what we've named it. The ability for a consumer, and this is key, to go as far through the buying process as possible on the contractor's website. So we got to work, and you talk about like the early days, Tersh, like you said, was it scary? It wasn't scary because we knew we were right. We absolutely knew we were right. But what was humbling was we were really early. Yeah. So like I would talk to people, and I'd had a decent run in my career, but I was calling people trying to talk about this idea, and it was like we were speaking two different languages. Like they were looking at me like, hold on, what? Why? I don't get it. Well, all of that has passed. There's now, thousands of contractors who've done this, but something changed. Like AI search became a thing. So people are now going as far through the buying process as possible within ChatGPT or within Gemini or within Perplexity. I think there's even some like not a ton of brand loyalty. Like people bounce around these things, and the cost to use those things is coming down so fast. So the big change we had to make at the company was like, Joe is great. The big change we had to make in the company was like, we just, worked our butts off to make it possible for a human being to finally go through on Joe Strip Matters website and get a fully installed system, 3 different options with all the details. And now the primary user is not the human being, it's a robot, right?
Yeah.
So the next step was like, how do we get contractor commerce to operate on the contractor's behalf within ChatGPT or within the Ask Engine or whatever you want to call it? So that's step 1. But we still believe firmly at Contractor Commerce that the buying journey should happen on the contractor's website. So what we're launching on March 31st, I kind of mentioned it, conversational AI. It is a version of our plugin that looks and feels just like an AI experience. It is an AI experience. However, it has guardrails that allows the contractor to control some of the different variables. So an example of this is like Joe, who by the way was a great power user of our program. Let's say a consumer's on Joe's website and they want to do deep research on a water heater, right? And so they're engaging with the
so this
with
person's an engineer. Okay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We all know those. We've all had those customers in the past.
Right, but let's say Joe is like, look, I only sell A.O. Smith, so I don't want you to guide them to Bradford White or whatever that is. There's the ability for a controlled yet like kind of guided AI experience that keeps the contractor within the website. The next iteration of that, or the next phase, is that conversation. Here's where we get really in the weeds. That conversation should be able to happen in ChatGPT and also on the contractor's website and pick up where it left off. So there's a lot of development, a lot of work going on, but I'll make a statement here. The idea is, now keep in mind, we've always sort of built for the fringe. Like we've always built on the like edge of the market, trying to be ahead. This is not a popular statement and is not something I've said before, but we want to make it quite possible. And Josh, I'm like ducking down because I know your background, but like I want to make it 100% possible, feasible, and sensible for a consumer to buy a fully installed mechanical anything off a contractor's website without a human being going into the home. And so I think Rilla was, one of their taglines was like the end of ride-alongs.
Yeah.
The edge of what we're trying to build for is the end of sales calls. Do I think it will be the end of sales calls? Absolutely not. Do I think that the majority of value transaction in the industry will happen when someone goes in the home? Yes. But we're going to build for a world where you can go on the website.
There will be a segment. It's just like everything else. I think sometimes and maybe it's the political climate, or it's always like the doomsday scenario of everything, when in reality, everybody buys differently. Some people want to have someone in house to like explain things and like, because they can see it and they can walk through it and ask those questions. And sure, like I just like Tersh, and I'm sure yourself, Paul, we use ChatGPT, or I've been using Claude and Gemini a lot more lately, but using those for just helping me understand things. Like I told you guys, not to get back on the health thing, I got my blood results back. I took the report, and the report was pretty good, but it wasn't like 8th grade level, like dumbed down to my level. So I threw it in there, and I'm like, okay, just tell me what's good, what's bad, what I can do different.
Like a 3rd grader. I said that all the time.
I mean, and it like I understood it so much better, because like they use all the medical terms for different things. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is. And so it's kind of the same thing as far as breaking these things down in a way that contractors or homeowners can understand. And what's really interesting is, and Paul, you may know this just because you're in that space. Trish, I don't know if you know this, but Google has made it very obvious that so like if you search for like cost of an AC system or whatever, something along those lines, the online estimate button right below. So to get the search bar, and then Google always has like that bar underneath that says like maps, images, videos, etc. There is a little bar there, especially on mobile. It's like says online estimates right below it. And if you click on that, it changes the entire result to storefronts, people who have pages on their website about cost and things like that. And the research I've done, there is very, very, very few that have pages on their website that actually have this any sort of information or even optimized for that. It is a huge opportunity. Just like anything else, you got to act pretty soon, because people like yourself pushing this to your customers and other, there's other platforms out there.
Good job.
They're going to be doing it. And people like myself understand this, and we're working with our customers to figure it out, because we need to provide our value to our customers and help them with things that they don't understand, but it's coming. And between that, and then anytime you ask for like contractors, it gives you pricing information in the AI search stuff, whether it's like they pulls from reviews and even Google on reviews. Now it's not just go leave a 5-star review and put your words in there. It gives you options of the price, what you thought of the price, what you thought of the service. They're capturing that information. I actually we're doing an outbound reviews thing through most of our clients, just because we've realized that there's a lot of power in that with AI search stuff. But we have a client that he only wanted to do it to his system replacements, like an outbound review to his old customers. And I asked him why. He's like, well, because the service guys, I don't want the customers hitting the price button that were too high and stuff like that. I'm like, if you're scared of Google, like we're not going to grow a business here. You're going to be scared and you're not going to show up. But that's the fear. And those are the things people are thinking and talking about, is the cost stuff. The cost is going to be out there. It is not a secret. It's no longer a secret.
They will get it somewhere.
The coaching companies are doing a disservice to this industry by not pushing their contractors to be on the forefront of this. I've heard recently, we've had Marcus Sheridan on the podcast. We had him at our event. He was a speaker at, I'm not going to name the name, coaching
PGIA.
Organization.
Yeah.
No, that's the one that's this
No,
week,
it wasn't. I'm sorry. It rhymes with Certain Path. I was there.
And I'm not going to mention the name. I won't mention any names.
Bleep that out.
But he told me he actually refunded them the speaking agreement, because what he teaches with endless customers and pricing up front and on your website, they completely went against psychologically or philosophically.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why are you teaching contractors to hide the price? Because you know what the number one thing on phone calls is? The number one objection is they're asking for price.
Yeah.
And if you don't overcome that objection, you're missing a lot of opportunity to get in the house.
Yeah.
That was my long monologue, because I have a lot to say on this topic.
It's so true. And Josh, it's so baked into the industry that you shouldn't do that. But really, they're not even looking for price. They're looking to reduce uncertainty, reduce anxiety. The price just helps them orient with, hey, do I have the money? Do I have the resources to pay for this? And that's regardless of, like John just said, transparency is key.
It's not only that, it's also the fact that, like, if whatever search engine tells them, okay, you should be expecting to pay $12,000. And the last time they replaced the system was pre-COVID, and they paid $4,000. There's a lot less sticker shock whenever someone comes in there with $12,000 or $15,000 or whatever. And also, if somebody comes in there with $25,000, they can ask why. Like, there might be a legitimate reason why it's worth, $10,000 more than what I'm expecting to pay, but I just want to know why. Otherwise, you're like, this is $20,000 more than what I expected to pay.
Well, and that's to get back to Marcus. That's his whole philosophy. It's not even necessarily to put the exact pricing. It's to say, why is it higher? What could cause it to go higher? Why is it lower? What's the difference between a licensed contractor and a non-licensed what are all the things and factors? I know Florida is like a breeding ground for AC companies, and I love seeing their posts about Florida stuff, because these guys rip each other apart.
Bad.
Because because so many guys are unlicensed and they just start their own companies, and they're literally doing it for beer money, essentially.
$500. That's what they want.
But that stuff needs to be explained to your customers so they know what they're getting. Because most likely those companies, just because they installed a cheap price doesn't mean they're going to be around in 3 or 5 years when you need them to do a warranty claim because they installed it wrong. They're just getting the money now and they're gone. You probably won't see them again. And my thing has always been own the conversation instead of let someone else own the conversation, like Angie and Home Advisor and whatever other that top 10 best contractor list there are that say, oh, the pricing should be this and this. It's not true. None of those prices are accurate. None of them are even close to what actual homeowners pay. And it sets up the contractor.
What do you tell people, Paul, whenever that's their fear is like, oh, my competitors are going to learn my prices?
Yeah, well, they already know your prices. Like they've seen invoices, all those sort of things. 100%. But one of the analogies that I like to think about is, I'll put you on the spot here, Tersh. Tersh, imagine you get an ad right now, 2026 F-150 Raptor, 15 grand.
It's stolen.
Right? Like, but but wait a minute. The argument would be like, hey, that dealer who's selling it for 115, like there's the guy in Florida who will do it for $500. Like but the only reason you can do that, the only reason you can say it's stolen is because you're generally aware of how much a good F-150 costs because because the car industry has done a really, really good job of leading first with price. If the race to the bottom was truly a thing, I want to be careful not to speak in absolutes here, but there would be no competing car dealerships. Don't you ever see 3 car dealerships next to each other? Like they would just all get down to 50 cents at some point. Like, no, give human beings more credit. Like they're reasonable. But like you said, you saw that $15,000 Raptor and you're like, something's not right. Well, in the AC world,
someone else may be like, yeah, sure, I'll buy it for 15 grand.
Totally.
And get pulled over. Yeah.
I mean, if you can find one for 15 grand and it's actually legit, buy it.
Right. Exactly. So,
but funny story, Paul.
You're right.
This is Brittany was at a company. They're about a $10 million company in Wisconsin, but this is pre-Relentless Digital, pre-anything that I've done since. I was actually at Professional Services at the time. So they had 7 salespeople, and they did a lot of estimates. So they did a lot of mailers and things to generate estimates and stuff like that. And they had stacked. They literally gave discounts to their customers for everybody else's quotes when they won a job, like 25 or $50 off or whatever. And they had stacks of these. So if you don't think your competitors have any clue what your pricing is, you are lying to yourself. Yeah. I promise you, they know.
I'm hesitant to share this, but I'll go ahead and do it. I don't think the consequence is that high, but one of the features that we're building into conversational commerce, because if we're thinking we're in a difficult position because we have to be what is best for the contractor. Ultimately, they're our customer, but we also have to err to like what is best for the consumer so that they'll use the thing, right? There's this fine line. And one of the elements that we're testing right now is the ability through that conversational experience to just take a picture of the quote or estimate that you have on your desk from whoever else and analyze it and come through and say like, hey, here's how this matches up to what we do. I noticed they don't say anything about the sump pump that you're going to need, or I noticed like building that, like taking all the data that exists within our system and their system and through our Service Titan integration, pulling data there to give the customer a second opinion in a way that, look, they're going to go put it in, like you said, Josh, they're going to screenshot it and put it in Chat GPT anyway. I'd much rather have them screenshot it and put it in, put it in my system. So yeah, we'll see. Now go ahead.
I was actually going to transition to George's question because you talked a little bit about like second opinions, and I'm like, oh, this is a good segue into like marketing strategy for contractors, because none of these tools or things that you put on your website, whether it's an online booking tool or a online pricing estimator of some sort, does anything if you can't get people there. Yeah. And I think you were kind of going to go into that a little bit, but George asked, what marketing strategy would you implement with this system? And I'm going to stay tool agnostic here, but he's mentioning a high level is because I know he uses that and we've worked on some of those things together, but can it connect to like a third-party tool for text message follow-ups, email follow-ups, et cetera? So what would you say to that, Paul?
Well, first thing that I'll mention is, most contractors have a generally high bounce rate on their homepage. Most people come to the website and then they leave. They spend a little bit of time and they leave. Not everybody, but it's generally high. You mentioned, Josh, that the number one thing people call on the phone for is pricing related. So you can make a pretty good assumption that a lot of that homepage traffic or traffic that ends up on your website through search is trying to get oriented with pricing. I think that's pretty commonplace. So where I start with our customers on step one, a great website to look at is traviscrawfordhvac.com. George, if you're buying
know
computer,
that guy a little bit.
you know Travis Crawford. You know Travis.
They're boys.
Yep, they've got 3 or 4 giant calls to action that you can't miss. Instant generator estimate, instant HVAC quote, instant water heater quote, because they know that people are there and they're curious. And so part of it is just having really clear ways for your customers to get what they might be there for. The counterpoint to that is like a lot of contractors just have contact forms. And so it's just a general contact form where it's like name, address, phone number. How did you hear about us? What can we help you with? Like people don't, not in this age, people don't want to, what's up, Dario? People don't want to fill out a contact form. Like they want to get what they came for now. So that's step one. The other piece, and this isn't intended to be self-serving. It's not, look, running a business is complex, marketing is complex. It's not all about online pricing and instant estimates and e-commerce. But in every area of your marketing, you need to let people know that they can get pricing now. And all that does, this is the misconception that I've had to manage for years. That doesn't mean that the customer is going to get pricing and they're done with you. What it's doing is it is allowing them into your funnel so that you can begin to nurture them, get in the home, and sell. And so one of the things contractors aren't, contractors are usually working with customers who are pretty close to the point of purchase, right? When you do something like this, you might be engaging with someone who's 6 months out. So you just have to understand that treatment strategy because you will get more people. I always say like, quote more jobs, sell more jobs. Like it's as simple as that.
Sure.
Yeah. And so to George's question, it is difficult to pinpoint one thing because there's a lot of things that could work. There's some contractors that I've seen creating video content explaining why the prices is different, similar to like the Marcus Sheridan method of like, why is it high? Why is it low? And all the questions in between. And one of the best ways to answer those questions or get like to feed yourself is to go to a Claude and say, hey, I'm just going to keep using Marcus Sheridan because we had a great conversation with him and he was at our event and everyone loved his content. But I want to talk about pricing and I want to be upfront to my customers. I want to use his endless customers or they ask you answer system. Ask me a bunch of questions that my homeowners are probably thinking about in regards to replacing my water heater, name the thing, and just start creating content about it. And this is something that actually we're working on implementing with clients. The hard part is we have to get the questions and they have to answer them because I can't answer them for them. Like, Paul, you've been in the marketing industry, like Tersh, I know you've done articles and stuff. Like there's regular like SEO content, like service pages, location pages, which typically has to have like certain stuff in it to even be relevant. But content like this, I am not going to be liable for what it says in that article. And you're going to hate me if I put the wrong thing and your market's different. Yeah. But so some of that stuff that's where these partnerships with, whether it's a social media company or whatever you're doing, you really have to work together. It doesn't mean it's a set it and forget it and someone's just going to do it for you anymore. It means you have to be willing to communicate back and forth. The clients we've done this for, we did one right after Marcus was at our event because I knew I was going to have clients come ask me like, oh, can we do this? Yeah. It ranked on ChatGPT in like 3 days after we posted it.
That was crazy.
And that was don't tell Joe, but that was in for water heaters in Dallas, Fort Worth. So
hey,
Joe's already onto this.
We just lost one viewer.
Shout out to, hey, Joe, this is before I knew you, but I had Bacon Plumbing replace my water heater in Plano, Texas about 10 years ago. So small world.
That's funny.
Yeah. What you should do, go to ChatGPT and look for pricing for HVAC systems in Charlotte, North Carolina. And if Travis Crawford and there's 5 or 6 others in this market doesn't show up, I will buy you a beer or whatever. I'll have to figure out how to get it to you. But
right now, I'm just kidding.
You don't even drink Tersh, or barely.
Oh.
We had a couple of questions from Travis and John. I think they're very similar questions, so we'll just use Travis's question.
Yeah.
So with having pricing on the website, would there be a potential financing pricing model alongside that shown?
Well, that's a good point.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So what we recommend is that you show both the cash price and the finance price. However, there are some contractors that truly are priced 40, 50, 60% ahead of the core market. I'll give you an example. There's a contractor in Northern California. Their good, better, best is like 26, 32, 46,000. Like it's wild, right? Sonoma Valley. In that case, you want to include some financing. But I will tell you, so first of all, as a best practice, show both. Worst case, just show financing. That's fine too. But we had some feedback with Travis. This is a good story about Travis Crawford. So Travis's radio campaigns are amazing. His marketing team is legit. I follow them on social media.
He tells me about his radios, like the feedback.
So good, man.
They're hilarious.
So good. But he gave me some feedback that, they were talking about, transparent pricing on their ads, and someone went to their website and saw just the monthly price and pushed back and said, like, well, that's not transparent. Monthly pricing isn't transparent. So I recommend you do both. You show both the monthly and the and
the car ads where like it's super small and white and the background's white and they can't even really see
people
it.
know when you see 214 a month or whatever, and you're like, yeah, well, I have a 590
down at the bottom
score.
it says
it's
starting
going
at
to be
$39,995 or whatever.
Yeah,
totally.
Like 12 years.
Yep. Yeah. So part of the next version. So right now you can finance a system through I don't want to say through Contractor Commerce, but through Travis Crawford's online store that's powered by Contractor Commerce. You can finance a job. I actually just bought my water.
Does that connect with? Does it have to? Is there certain finance companies that works with, or what does that look like? Or
so right now,
any finance company to it?
Today it's bring your own finance company. With our next product release, we will have integrated with a couple of different ones, but FinTurf being a good example. So those guys at FinTurf have built a great product, and you can go through the process there. In the new version of Contractor Commerce, that conversational flow, and this can of course be configured by the contractor, but we're going to try to finance jobs. We're going to try to finance systems directly through that conversational flow and get it over to the contractor. So
quick question on that, on the updated versions and everything. If you have I guess I'll call it the legacy version of Contractor Commerce, does it move over to that, or does it stay the legacy version?
We do call it the legacy version. So it will stay as is. We have so many contractors using it, and some that really, not some, the majority love it. Like, we built the company on it. Contractors will have the option to choose to migrate to the new experience. It's just one button and a little bit of onboarding. But we thought long and hard about that. As we get the product live and we start to really understand the difference in conversion, we might be a little more heavy-handed in telling people to move to. It just depends. It's going to be up to the contractor. Some people love
Is it going to affect how we show up in rankings, as far as like with the ability for that AI to search and give prices? Will it be able to communicate with Google's AI so whenever Google says, I'm going to crawl your page and see what your prices are, is it going to be able to converse there, or is it going to be too laggy? Because the conversation itself takes a second, but Google has to have it instantly. So will it have the ability to still give the prices to the AI search inside of
all
Google?
of that information lives within the plugin on the website, and there's some limitations on, like, if they're using our WordPress plugin, can it be crawled or not? But the idea would be that it would be found through any form of search. Now, it's tricky, and Josh, you can know this. Like, I can't make guarantees by any means, but directionally, that's the intent.
Okay.
Well, and in my opinion, like, so if you're already gonna have the price on your website through a tool, so you're not afraid to share it, you might as well create a blog article focused on the same thing that gets indexed from search itself. Because what will happen is, like, the overview.
How would you do that, Josh? Like, how would you would you do it on a completely different page? Because the Contractor Commerce.
So I would do it on a page that actually the CTA leads to the store.
Okay.
So that way you can almost like it's higher up in the funnel, right? Because they're like, oh, okay, I want to see like a ballpark range, but now I'm ready for a quote. So now throughout the article, you place like, get your instant estimate right now, get it today, etc. So that way it's like they get the information that they want in the overview or the paragraph that they usually put up there. and then they can decide if they want to go further. So, and this is
Yep.
back to George's point. You can create video content with that CTA. You can YouTube videos. This would be, I mean, great
Sure,
for
Josh,
homeowners
in my
if you're targeting
spare time,
DIY
let me do
homeowners.
a bunch of videos on this stuff.
Yep. I will bring.
Contractors probably thinking.
I will.
Well, one thing-
every time we listen to Josh, it's like, all right, create a video on that, and I'm like,
Remind me.
It works.
after
Yeah,
this-
That's the
video
thing.
because
But
I have a setup.
not enough people do it consistently enough, because
I don't
we're
know.
even working on a process where we come up with the questions and we just interview our client for an hour.
Yeah.
Because the thing is,
That's a good
there
idea.
are marketing companies putting out a bunch of AI garbage. It's literally,
Yeah.
they're not including the
We're
client. They're not,
We're not.
I'm not mentioning names because I know I'll get a video or some
Might
post
get it
later
on
that
there.
Hey,
said
I'm
this.
Switzerland right here.
So
I'm
am I.
Switzerland. I want to bring something though. You bring up a really, really good point. And you said like, hey, if they land on this random page, how are you going to get them back into the buying flow and the conversation? So I should have mentioned this. So we built a feature in our product. It's actually a product in and of itself called Infuse. And what that does is, and Travis Crawford has this enabled. You know, Travis might have, I don't know, a couple hundred pages on his website. I have no idea. But it's not uncommon for contractors to have a ton of pages. What our technology will do when enabled, Infuse will find every single page on the website and infuse a call to action that leads to the conversational buying journey using contextual clues. So for instance, if there's a page about, you know, cold nights in Eden Park, Minnesota, it will infuse language that makes it part of that blog post so that everything focuses to that conversational journey. So again, super easy to install. You literally like go into your Contractor Commerce account, hit Infuse, and you're up and running. It's like, it's
What I
pretty
hear
awesome, man. We've not
is-
done a good job of like telling people how awesome.
I need to
what
go
we
to
built is.
TC's website and just copy and paste it. Just put my logo.
Go for it. You know what? Shout out to Travis Crawford. Most people actually do that. And he asked me to stop mentioning his name, but I'm in Charlotte and he's my guy. So I got to, he actually told me, he's like, he called me into his office and I thought he was like upset about the product. He's like, can you quit telling people about us, please? I'm like, all right, my bad.
It's hilarious. I was literally this morning texting with him and Ron up in Jersey. So it's funny like how much they like, just in general, you've done a great job for them. And
Well, thank you.
About this morning. So
thank you. I joke in my team, my team, I'm like, guys, we've, 2,000 customers. We can quit referring just Travis Crawford, but it's such a good story. Cause like he's not a PE backed guy. He's in a great market that has some dominant players, and he grows and he's built a great culture and he's always out on the front edge of technology, and he's a sleeper, man. That's a really good company. So
if I ever, one thing I love about TC is the fact that, man, if I'm like, hey, Travis, I need to try out this product. He's like, yeah, man, I got you. I'll try it. I'm like, really? You don't even know what it is? He's like, I got you. Whatever it is, I trust you.
Yep.
I'm like, yes.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, because we all know Tersh and I have way too many ideas.
We do have so many ideas, except for the last time he was like, no, I'm not giving my phone number to anybody. I was like, because I gave his phone number to somebody and they did not stop.
You forgot to tell him it's in the show notes already.
It is.
I'm
Have you
just
ever heard,
kidding.
Paul, you ever heard of goat torturing?
No.
So if you, with friends like me, you don't need enemies. So basically, anybody that has my cell phone number, do not do this to me because I know you get it. So you put an ad on Craigslist saying that you had a new litter of kids or goats or whatever you call them, and you had them by mistake, and you don't have enough room for them, so you're giving them away for free. And the problem is you work third shift, so you're only awake from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. So, but because of the cell phone regulations, you have to call multiple times to get through to me. So please dial like at least 4 times and only call from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. But the first 10 people that call, we'll get them for free, and as many as you want. And you will have the most random people calling you at 11 p.m. and just leaving the most random voicemails because they can't get to,
Wait.
because everybody's do not disturb is turned off by then. Like
Yeah.
you can't get to. But if you call like 5 times, it'll come through.
It'll come through.
And then you'll wake up in a like panic, and you're like, oh, it must be an emergency. They've called me like 3 times.
Did you goat torture yourself, or did you do this to somebody else?
Oh, I've done this to several people before.
It's pretty solid.
But this is something I've been doing for about 15, 20 years now. So,
Craigslist still around, man. Still the same user interface and everything.
Yeah, it is
Wild.
It is very much so.
Wild. It hasn't changed at all.
The same clientele in there, and those clientele are the perfect ones for goat torturing too. They'll fall for it every time. So
we've derailed officially.
Oh, amazing.
Paul, last question I got for you. It's a futuristic thing. So as far as, you've already seen this grow quite a bit. You mentioned you were early, and now you feel like it's really become more mainstream. Any predictions for the next year or two on where things are headed when it comes to online pricing, transparency, trust on the internet, things like that?
Or in the next 6 months.
What's that, Tersh?
I said, or in the next 6 months.
I think that I have two responses to this. One, the way that people use AI to make shopping decisions or purchase decisions or research, like that is going to continue to compound, but it's going to become such a normal way of life, similar to how people Google things. I don't know, and it's way too early to say that there's going to be this seismic shift of like people moving away from Google to specific AI operators for whatever that's worth. So I'm not like, I'm not part of that school that's like, you should panic, you should do something. So I think AI has changed the way people research, the way people do everything. Yeah. It's going to make the really good salespeople better. It's going to make the middle of the pack salespeople not be engaged with. You're not going to want to have someone in your house who doesn't align with your values and those sort of things. So people are going to continue to go online and do that. I think at the same time, like, and this is why I love the trades, there's some fundamental things that are only, that don't really change that much. Building a great company, providing a great service, answering the phone. Like, I think there's these competing things where, like, yes, voice agents are going to be great, but so is answering the phone with a human being. So I think a lot of the fundamental practices that make you a great company and a growing company are still going to be foundational. And then you make AI make you a little bit better. But no, I think it's going to be steady change over time. I do think, again, selfishly speaking, I think people are going to start transacting more than they do now and getting at least through the financing process without having someone into their home. And that plays really well for us. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a good couple of years, man. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Does Amazon start selling equipment?
They already do. I mean, they already do. So I think that
have you seen the Walmart pricing? Like,
it's amazing.
Walmart sells it. Doesn't Walmart have an agreement with Bryant or something?
No, it's like, I think, or maybe it is, but I know I've seen a Goodman on there, and it was like below what I could buy it for. And I was like,
yeah, I mean, you can,
I need to buy some from Walmart.
It's kind of a sleeper. I mean, there's brands you can buy on Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart direct now, and you can have a pallet show up on your doorstep. So I think that, like, there are people who still think that, like, oh, that's going to happen. I'm like, it's already happened, and it really hasn't materially changed anything. Like, people still know you have to go to a local contractor to get something like that installed. So I don't see,
like, for me personally, if I have the option to buy the materials and service through one contractor versus, like, if I have to buy, like, so I'm building a shop. So if I bought the materials for the shop and then I hired the contractor is going to come to me and be like, well, you're gonna have to call the manufacturer to get the warranty for whatever, or this parts are missing. Now you have to inventory all these things, and you're missing three of these things, and now it's going to be 3 weeks, and the contractor is going to move on to a different job for 3 weeks or whatever. I'd rather just have the contractor's problem, and buy it all at one time, even if he does have some markup on it. It's not a headache for me anymore.
Yep. Yeah, I do see, and this has been part of our kind of core principles or view on the market point of view for a long time is that manufacturers will want to have more control over the homeowner ownership, right? So whether they're going direct to consumer or trying to just change the way that works a little bit, because the contractors can be, I mean, the contractors are the entry point for the manufacturers and the brands, the distributors, everybody. And so the extent to which they try to reach around and go direct to the, that's tricky and will happen, but
they're going to upset people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's already to the point now where the manufacturers, you almost have to have a manufacturer specific thermostat because they're all communicating. You have to have their thermostat, and that thermostat collects data of the customers.
Does that feel a little bit? Do you guys remember like when iPhones came out, and then of course Samsung created theirs, and like every new phone you had like a new charger, and how irritating it was. They kept changing the chargers, and of course you couldn't use them.
The iPhone 18 is changing to a magnetic
chargers.
Yes, magnetic charger.
They just went to the USB-C.
I just went to the 17.
I was so excited because my wife, because Brittany and I could use the same freaking charger. I'm like, this is great.
I know.
And now I just have one for you and one for me.
Not the 18. The 18 is going to be magnetic, and it's going to be like the 3 little copper things with the magnet that sticks to it. So it's just, if it's normal, Apple's going to make it difficult.
Anyone that manufactures stuff is really good at getting you to buy stuff, all the extra accessories. It's probably make a lot of money because those things are so cheap to make. But that's a whole other.
We appreciate you hanging out with us. We could talk to you for days. I mean, every time we're around you, we talk for hours. If somebody is interested, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for connecting with us. They can go to contractorcommerce.com and hit talk to sales or request a demo or any of those things. Hit me up on Facebook or LinkedIn, Paul Redman on both. You can reach out to me, have someone on my team talk to you. If you're an existing customer or like Joe here, thanks for being a customer. Thanks for helping validate this. The thing I'm most proud of is the fact that we have really happy customers. It hasn't worked for everybody. Not everybody has enough website traffic or enough like structure within their business to support anything new, let alone e-commerce. But yeah, really proud of that. So contractorcommerce.com or hit me up on any of the social media channels and we'll get you connected.
And if you want Paul's cell phone number, just text me and I'll get.
Yeah, look it up on Craigslist. So fun. I'll give you my cell phone.
I'll give you TCs too, Travis Crawford. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't go to Travis's website and engage with Contractor Commerce, please. So.
Cool, man. We appreciate you. If anybody
too.
has any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. Obviously, Paul, he's a wealth of knowledge, and the entire team is a wealth of knowledge. But with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful and safe week until we talk again next time. We'll see you later.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.